You want something, you got the power, right?
Absolutely. Let me interject something too. You said, go into the silence and talk to God. Let me make it clear to the listener that often God sounds like you. And I want to make that distinction because a lot of times we keep looking for this ethereal voice, this voice. A lot of times when you're talking to God, you're talking to yourself. And once you begin to understand that voice, then clarity is going to happen. But if we keep looking for a voice outside of us, a voice apart from us, we're going to miss it. But often when you're talking to God, it sounds much like you're talking to yourself.
Said we're all one.
Yeah,
Isn't that what Jesus said?
absolutely.
I and my Father are one, even as you and I are one. Well, where do you need to go to talk to him?
Yeah.
Huh? Right? He just says, "Be still and know that I'm God." Well, what's all the going to church about? To learn about God. And he says, "Hey, I'm right here with you. I suffer with you, but you behold me not." See, because he can't interfere because he gave you choose to say. And if you're choosing something and running to him to whining and crying about this, that, and the other, that this is God. I mean, all you're doing by that would be like if your child has called you up and told you, "I'm down at the police station for something or other." You see, and then the parent gets that feeling and come on, you're given choice. Choose this day. And whether you're aware of it or not, it's always this day. Years and years, it's always this day. So that means, and the fact that you're on all the time anyway, but that means that you can change your mind from yesterday. See, if yesterday it wasn't going right, okay, okay, acknowledge it and then drop it and print anew because you're on all the time. So to be up to date, you got to do it now because you're eventually going to do it anyway. I mean, I can tell you that it's all planned out. You're going to do it anyway. But when you decide, you see, you have to start. And what are you starting? You're watching what you're talking to yourself about. That's all you're doing. And I mean, and claiming it. I'm saying this, but do I want to experience it? And if you say no, well, then drop it and move on. That's all there is to it. And I have a stereo and beautiful stereo here, boy, and I'll pop that thing on and in just a little while, you know, I'm happy again. I get frustrated at moments, but I recognize the frustration. And then, but the point is, there's two things. You can drop it or you can bond with it.
Absolutely.
See, well, and usually when you're in a sort of an excited mood, bonding with it seems to be the better choice. Oh, we are such creatures, aren't we?
We are. And I was laughing, like I said, because of our conversation. When I was in that moment, I was bonding with it. And Mr. Lindell was continuously reminding me, and I'm listening. I'm like, listen, I understand the principles. I know how this stuff works. I'm like, but give me my moment right now. And I want to listen. At that moment, I was fighting for my limitations, and we all do it. The goal is to recognize it once he and I got off the call. Now, first of all, before we get off the call, he wanted to make sure that I was okay. But once we established that, once I got off the call, I knew that I had to do some inner work, some conversations with myself. And I had to realize that I was the God creating my circumstances, my world. And either I continued on creating those dynamics or I changed them. And so for me, it was the necessary choice of change. But like I said, we all have our moments. Mr. Lindell stated that what he does is he'll turn on music. He'll get into a different state by listening to that music. And he will often say, he will ask himself, is this what I want to experience? Creators, we have to be mindful and then consciously choose what it is that we want to do, be, or have, and then begin living from that state.
That's it. Every word. Yeah. Listen, that was a tough one. Every word must be accounted for. You see, that's the reason in scripture they give you all the, chapters and verse and all that, so that you can look it up and see that this is something that took many, many minds communicating right down to the very words. So it was very, very carefully written because it is a story that contains in it a message. And it's everybody's message, but it's done in a way that not everybody's going to get it right off. Because that could be kind of chaotic. I can imagine that. But you see, that's the whole thing. That's what I got from Neville, was that imagining is creative.
Yeah.
I mean, that was, to me, that was a whole message. Yeah, I hung on to that during the rest of the message. You're on all the time. You're thinking feelingly about what? And this is not about justifying what you're thinking feelingly about. I mean, this is not making excuses about what you're thinking feelingly about. This is about your life unfolding in a way you're making it, but are you liking it? That's what we're here to do. Help you get a better life. It's your message. We didn't make it up. It's for every child born of a woman. So kind of covers the whole thing, doesn't it?
It covers the gamut. Absolutely.
Yeah. Actually, like I said, the wise men down through the ages all agree on one thing, that man is his attitudes. And if you look back at all the things that happen, well, you see, that's it. We're very forgetful. And we tend to turn situations around that we look better. But you see, all you're doing is verifying you are that isn't bitter. That makes sense?
It does. It does.
I find it all hilarious myself, because I see myself as I was. I see myself as I even bragged about. Yeah, even that. But now I see myself totally different. It was just a change of mind, a change of feeling. That's all it is. Those two right there. It's attitude awareness and imaginational control. You can just stroll through. All the things that are going on will still go on, but you'll just stroll through. And look at me, I'm strolling.
Yeah.
Are you?
I am. I am.
That's it. You see, look, it's all an attitude. You understand? Oh, I understand the devastation that you're talking about, but understand that's all in the dream too. See, 5,000 on this hill coming down, the 5,000 on this hill coming down, and they're all killing each other. It's a dream. in this God's dream. And it took on every avenue of expected life. You always get what you expect. Isn't that a tip off about praying correctly? You always get what you expect. Hey, like he says, when you've asked, you've received. There's no question. He's already said yes. As a matter of fact, he says yes to everything. So watch what you're thinking. Yeah, like I said, positive or negative, hey, they're both treated as the same because they're worded out of your mouth or out of your. Look, the theater of my. I know this is just a vegetable brain, but believe me, they're so. Well, you're told worshiping God is using his gifts, so you already got the gifts, but are you recognizing them? See, it takes work to recognize your dreams. But just like it does, look at all the bad things you think about. They took up thinking space. Well, why wouldn't you take that and give it to a positive? A negative is very easily because that's what's really the ongoing topic in the whole drama man. News you need to know. They're always bringing you the news you need to know. Do I really? Maybe I'd be better off if I didn't even know it. Which is, I mean, they're telling me about an accident that happened in Florida. Okay, and here I'm in. Where am I at? Oh, in California. They do get a smile out of you that one. You know, hey, it's all right to play tricks in that. If you know what you're really doing, and it is all in fun and just joking around. But understand, there's a time for everything. There's a time to be serious. Because if you're not serious, well, you're identifying with a chaotic life, aren't you? I mean, your life is you're thinking feelingly about whatever I am that you're claiming, and you are that because you're claiming it. And out of your own mouth, you're claiming it. Out of your own thinking feelingly, you're claiming it. Out of seeing what you're doing in the theater of mind, that's where we all do our work. So whatever you're doing in the theater of mind, it'll be out here sooner or later. All things eventually are known. The thing of it is, you don't get away with nothing, really. And yet, you're forgiven all of it. You see, it's as you think you are, you do, you have, you be. So who would you blame it on? If it's as you think, who 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 would you actually blame it on? You see, it's their fault. Well, their thinking is their thinking. Your thinking is your thinking. And if you're involved in what she's thinking, then you buy into that. You see yourself involved in something, well, because you're thinking it, you figure it don't mean anything. Well, yeah, it do. I mean, it do greatly mean it means something because it's as within, so without. That simple. See, look, we could start this thing every meeting right off. There is only God. There is only God doing the doing because if God didn't do it, it wasn't done. If you can get around those, I mean, well, religion does it pretty good. They get around it. I had a half a dozen of Neville's tapes, and I listened to them at least one every night for years before it actually touched base. I began thinking differently. The importance of having a CD, because what has your focus has your life. Think about it. We're not asking you to join anything, but you have to have the CDs. You have to have the DVDs. You have to listen to them. It's you training this. Listen, listen, listen.
But as Mr. Lindell stated, you have to listen to them repeatedly. And again, for those who are interested, click the link below and it will take you to the 4 CD set, and you'll be able to transform not only your mind, but your world.